What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about Steins Gate. Yes, I finally got around to watching it, and I finished it. The reason I decided to watch, I know it might be a little strange for me, because pretty much every single video I've done on here, I believe that is correct, was a shonen. I guess you might be able to consider Steins Gate a shonen. It is an extremely broad range of shows. But I don't know if it's like particularly directed towards younger males, so I personally don't see why it would be considered one, but yeah, it's definitely different from what I usually do. The reason I did decide to watch is because one of my favorite commenters in my live streams, Patrick, told me that it is an absolute must-watch. It is one of his favorite of all time. He might have actually said it was his favorite of all time, not exactly sure. And so yeah, I decided I'd send it. Well, what really got me was he told me it was finally on Crunchyroll, which was cool, and that it was only 24 episodes. I'd always wanted to watch it because it's kind of been like revered as one of the greatest anime of all time. At least in my experience, that's how I've seen it perceived by people. So when I realized it was only 24 episodes, when I was expecting something like between 1 to 200, I was like, oh shit, well I could bust this out real quick, and yeah, it'll be awesome. So I got around to watching it, and it was quite an interesting experience. Patrick did warn me that it's a little slow in the beginning, and it really starts amping up around the 12th to 13th episode, and That was more than true, for sure. I was very surprised by just how slow it really could be. I mean, there was pretty much almost nothing going on at any point of the entire story. I don't know, like, I was pretty confused for a while. Once I got to like 8 episodes, I was like, oh my god, like, well, what exactly is even the goal here? Where is this story going? I decided to push through because, you know, I did tell Patrick that I would finish watching it. I was already a third of the way through. I was supposed to be pretty close to the episode where things start ramping up, and I just kept going, maybe like 1 episode a day. It was pretty boring. Yeah, then I finally did get to the 12th or 13th episode. I believe it was the 13th that really kicked things up. And I started to understand why this was considered such a good series. And pretty much keep in mind from this point on, if you have not seen this series and you don't want to be spoiled, I'm going to be talking about what actually does happen, so just, sorry, you gotta click off of here. But yeah, so the reason that it ramps up so much is pretty much because after all this mindless doing nothing, just kind of working with their D-mails and whatnot, experimenting with how it could possibly work, and then finally saying that they were just going to sell it, which was kind of disappointing in its own. Pretty much shit goes down. CERN actually does become a part of the story, and they kill Mayuri, which was kind of weird. I didn't really understand why that had to happen. Like, why was she any less valuable than the others, I guess? I mean, I guess they played the most critical roles, but at the same time, I mean, Okabe and Kurisu were kind of like, you know, the brains of the whole operation, and then Daru actually, like, physically created these things, especially later on. He ends up making the time machine, which we don't get to see, of course, but not the point, you know what I'm saying. Like, if they were going to go through the trouble of taking the 3 of them hostage, you know, that does come with some kind of actual work. It's kind of a dangerous thing, rather than just killing them. That's the reason that they ended up killing her. Why exactly would, like, she be any less valuable, right? I mean, if they're already taking in 3 people, they really don't know what her potential is. I mean, what do they really know? What do they know, you know? So why not just bring her in at that point? I just didn't really understand that. I get that, like, based on the world line they were in or whatever, the beta world line, she had to die at that point. But I don't really see how CERN was, like, rationally coming up with that as a solution. It didn't make so much sense to me, especially since, like, in a lot of the different attempts that Okabe had to actually try and save her, they were the cause of the death, which just seemed so strange to me. I mean, it could be one thing if, like, just in that one instance they were the cause, but no, there were multiple times that was the case, so I thought that was very strange. After Okabe starts making sense of all that, though, that it's inevitable and he's gonna have to be more creative with how to do this, I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that happened. We find out that Suzu was John Teeter. That was super cool. I really did not expect that. That was awesome. Everything started making a lot more sense at that point. Kind of got where we were going with that. Then we even find out that Daru was her dad. That was awesome. Didn't expect that at all. By the way, Mayuri actually is the one who figured that out. So, yeah, it's like, come on, she's clearly valuable to some extent. She's not just there for, I don't even know what reason, just because she's like friends with Okabe? No, absolutely not. She's actually pretty useful to at least some extent, so CERN, I didn't really get the whole thing that was going on there. But yeah, so pretty much what I'm saying here is that while I did enjoy Steins Gate, I think it might be one of the most overrated series I've ever seen in my entire life. I do think it was good. I enjoyed it. I would rewatch. I'm actually planning on rewatching it because I think I'll enjoy it even more the second time. However, I mean, just from the time I really started getting into anime, searching for some to watch and whatnot, this was always super high up on the list. And for some reason, I just never got into it. It was always like within the top 3 on different ranking sites and whatnot. And I just kind of imagined that it had to be one of the greatest things of all time. And while it was great, the greatest thing of all time, I don't think it's even close to that. I mean, the first like 11 episodes minimum are just unforgivable, really. Like, here's the thing. I do understand what was going on. Like, I get that everything that happens in the first episodes, like, they don't make sense until you understand everything that's going on later. It all comes together. But, like, why does it have to be so ridiculously boring and badly paced at the same time? Like, for example, and Patrick, I know you're listening because you've been waiting for this video, and you're not going to like when I say this, but, like, with Attack on Titan, that's exactly what happens. Like, once you get further into the story, you learn about the entire world, everything, like, all comes together, things that weren't explained, that didn't make sense, all of a sudden finally do in one big go, in one, like, massive information dump that comes out of nowhere. And everything's pieced together, and it's beautiful at that point, and that's how Steins Gate is. But the only thing is that, like, up until that point, it wasn't ridiculously boring or badly paced at all. It was exciting the entire way through, and like it actually had some kind of direction. At least in Attack on Titan, while the direction is constantly changing, there is some kind of end goal at pretty much all times. Like at the beginning of the series, Eren is the main character. He just wants to destroy all the Titans. That makes sense. How good of a goal that really is, I don't know. That's not the point. At least there is some kind of objective in mind. We have an idea of where this story is going. And as the series progresses, this direction, this ultimate goal keeps changing and changing and changing because of the things that couldn't be controlled, things that come out of nowhere. Eren changes as a person. He understands that the world is not as black and white as it originally was thought to be. It's not just, well, the Titans are evil and that's it. All of humanity is good. He finds out that that is far from the case. I don't want to get too far into spoiling anything, but anyone who's seen Attack on Titan knows what I'm talking about. In Steins Gate, those first 11 episodes, for one thing, could have been done in pretty much a maximum of 4. It's like, come on, how long does it really take to accomplish pretty much nothing? The D-mails didn't have to be like so ridiculously hyped up every time they send them. They could just really get into a montage, kind of like the montage we see when Okabe really just keeps going back into the past to try and prevent Mayuri from dying. I would like to have seen that montage be happening throughout the series, pretty much the entire time. It's almost like they really were just pushing for it to be like a standard length series, you know, whether it's a manga or an anime. I don't know if it has a manga or whatever, light novel, I don't know, it doesn't make a difference. Either way, the anime ended up being pretty much the same length as like a normal standard one, 24, 25 episodes, and I just think that that was completely unnecessary. So overall, I would probably give it about an 8 because I really did enjoy it. It was awesome. After we got past that, you know, like 12th or 13th episode, it was pretty much fantastic. Every single episode from that point on, something awesome, really cool would happen that was really interesting, like a cool way of thinking about time travel. I did enjoy it. The first half just really kills me, and even though I did really like the second half, I don't think it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, right? Like, I mean, it's really good, but like the greatest thing of all time, I don't know. I like the whole idea of the way that the main character acts. I think he might actually be like in my top 5 protagonists of all time. Not protagonist, but main protagonist. I really like Okabe. He's absolutely hilarious. His quirks, his idiosyncrasies are just so funny to watch. I do enjoy him. But for him to just single-handedly carry the series into like the greatest thing of all time, there's just no way. I give it a solid 8, but I can't go higher. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this video. I'm really excited to hear what you guys think. I don't think I'm going to have too many people seeing this video since Steins Gate, like I said, I don't think is really considered a shonen, and in my experience, my videos that are not shonen don't really get that many views, comments, engagement in general, so I would really like to see it from everybody that actually is here. Patrick, for sure, I want to know what you think. I know you're going to be disappointed, but I'd like to hear your arguments. Maybe I need something else to kind of look at it in a different light, because I do plan on rewatching it, so I'd like anything you could give me that would maybe make me enjoy it a second time. Maybe a video someone made or something that made you enjoy the series more. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll talk to you on Sunday.